In the whirlwind of our daily lives, anger often feels like a familiar companion, always ready to show up, quick to arrive and difficult to send away. But what if I told you that the key to changing this isn't found in trying to suppress your anger, but in learning how to master the art of delay? Welcome to a journey of self-awareness and emotional mastery. Today, we'll explore an age-old piece of wisdom: the greatest remedy for anger is delay. These words, written nearly 2,000 years ago by the Roman philosopher Seneca, hold a timeless power that can still transform our lives today. But before we dive into the how, let's consider the why. Why should we bother managing our anger? Why not let it run free? Uncontrolled anger is like a wildfire. It can destroy relationships, harm our health, and leave us with regrets that linger for years. But here's the real truth: anger itself isn't the enemy. It's a natural emotion that often signals something important is at stake. The real challenge lies in how we respond to it. And this is where the wisdom of Stoicism comes into play. The Stoics, ancient Greek and Roman philosophers, taught us that while we can't control everything that happens to us, we have absolute control over how we respond. In the space between what happens and how we react lies our greatest power. So, how do we create that delay? And what happens in that crucial moment of pause? Let's explore this through the stories of three different individuals: Sarah, Michael, and Alex. Each faces unique challenges that test their patience and trigger their anger. Through their experiences, we'll discover practical strategies to master the art of delay and reshape our relationship with anger. First, meet Sarah, a high-powered executive who is constantly juggling responsibilities. Her days are filled with back-to-back meetings, urgent emails, and high-stakes decisions. During one meeting, Sarah feels her frustration rising as a colleague presents a poorly prepared report. In the past, Sarah might have lashed out, criticizing her colleague in front of the team. But now, she's practicing the art of delay. As her anger builds, she recalls the words of Marcus Aurelius: "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In that brief moment, Sarah asks herself three key questions. What can I actually control in this situation? How would my best self handle this? Will this even matter a month from now? By creating this delay, Sarah allows herself the space to respond thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively. Instead of escalating the situation, she turns it into a constructive conversation, creating an opportunity for improvement. Now, let's meet Michael, a high school teacher facing an entirely different set of challenges. Dealing with teenagers every day requires patience. During one class, a student begins acting out, disrupting the lesson. As Michael feels his anger rising, he remembers the words of Epictetus: "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Taking a moment to pause, Michael reflects on three important points. This behavior is not a personal attack. There could be underlying issues causing the student's actions. How can I turn this into a teaching moment? This moment of delay allows Michael to transform his anger into empathy. Rather than reacting with frustration, he chooses to engage the student in a meaningful way, turning a potential confrontation into a learning opportunity. Finally, we meet Alex, a stay-at-home parent whose daily life is filled with situations that can trigger frustration. One afternoon, while shopping, Alex's child begins to throw a tantrum in the middle of the grocery store. Feeling anger and embarrassment rise, Alex remembers the words of Seneca: "He who is not angry at the sight of evil is not virtuous, but he who does not maintain calmness in the face of anger is not wise." During that pause, three thoughts come to Alex's mind. My child isn't giving me a hard time, they're having a hard time. How can I address the need behind this behavior? This too shall pass. By taking a moment to delay, Alex shifts from reacting out of frustration to responding with understanding, choosing to meet the child's needs rather than getting caught up in the emotional heat of the moment. Sarah, Michael, and Alex show us that mastering the art of delay isn't about suppressing anger but creating the space for wisdom to step in. In that space, we can choose how to respond in ways that align with our values rather than being driven by immediate emotions. But how do we cultivate this ability to delay our anger? And what happens in our brains during these critical moments of pause? Stay tuned as we delve into the science behind anger, Stoic philosophy, and practical techniques that you can use daily to master the art of delay. As we dive deeper, let's take a closer look at what happens inside our brains when we experience that pause. When anger begins to rise, the amygdala, our brain's emotional center, releases stress hormones, triggering the ancient fight-or-flight response. In our modern world, this quick trigger reaction can often do more harm than good. This is where the power of delay comes into play. By consciously pausing, even for just a few seconds, we engage the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for rational thought and decision-making. This small act of delaying allows us to shift from reacting emotionally to responding thoughtfully. Building the habit of delay is like developing any other skill, it takes practice and patience. Let's explore some simple, effective techniques you can incorporate into your daily life. The 5-5-5 rule: when anger starts to rise, ask yourself, will this matter in 5 minutes, 5 months, or 5 years? This helps put the situation in perspective, often revealing that our anger is disproportionate to the problem. Box breathing: inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4, exhale for 4, and hold for 4. Repeat this cycle 4 times. This technique, often used by Navy SEALs, calms the nervous system and gives you that crucial moment of delay. The Stoic pause: when faced with a triggering situation, mentally step back and observe it as though you were a neutral third party. Ask yourself, what would a wise person do in this moment? This creates emotional distance and encourages a rational response. Reframing: during your pause, try to reframe the situation. Instead of seeing it as a threat or attack, ask yourself, can this be viewed as a challenge or an opportunity for growth? Is it true? When angry thoughts arise, challenge them by asking, is this true? Often, our anger is based on assumptions or misinterpretations. This simple question helps us reassess the situation with clarity. Remember, the goal isn't to eliminate anger entirely. Anger is a natural and sometimes useful emotion. The aim is to create a pause between the trigger and your reaction, allowing you to choose how you want to respond. Let's return to Sarah, Michael, and Alex and see how they apply these techniques in their daily lives. Sarah, our executive, has made the 5-5-5 rule part of her routine. During a recent high-stakes negotiation, she felt her anger rise when the other party made an offensive offer. Before reacting, she quickly ran through the 5-5-5 questions. Though the offer felt frustrating in the moment, she realized it wouldn't matter in 5 months or 5 years. With that perspective, she responded calmly and kept the negotiation on track, eventually reaching a win-win agreement. Michael, the high school teacher, has been practicing box breathing. On a particularly rough day, a student repeatedly disrupted his class, testing his patience. Instead of reacting, Michael stepped into the hallway and did 4 rounds of box breathing. After just 64 seconds, he returned to the classroom calm and composed, ready to address the issue with a clear head. His approach turned a potential outburst into a valuable lesson. As for Alex, our stay-at-home parent, the Stoic pause has become an essential tool. One chaotic day, when everything seemed to go wrong, Alex's child spilled juice all over the floor. Freshly cleaned floors can often feel like the final straw, especially when frustration is already building. In the past, Alex might have lost patience when the child spilled juice everywhere, but this time was different. Alex paused, mentally stepped back, and asked, what would a wise parent do in this situation? That brief moment of reflection allowed Alex to see the incident not as a deliberate provocation, but simply as part of a child's learning process. Instead of yelling, Alex turned the cleanup into a fun game, teaching the child responsibility while maintaining a positive and playful environment. These real-life examples show us that the art of delaying anger isn't just a philosophical ideal, it's a practical tool we can use every day. But what about those moments when the anger feels too intense, too justified, to delay? That's when we need to dig deeper into the roots of our anger. Often, our anger isn't just about the immediate trigger, but is linked to unmet needs or fears. During your moment of delay, ask yourself, what's really bothering me here? Am I feeling disrespected, insecure, or powerless? Understanding the root cause of your anger allows you to address the real issue, rather than simply reacting to the surface-level trigger. Consider the Stoic philosopher Epictetus, who said, "People are not disturbed by things, but by the views they take of them." This profound insight reminds us that our anger often stems not from the situation itself, but from how we interpret it. By delaying our initial angry response, we give ourselves the chance to reassess our interpretation and choose a more constructive perspective. Let's practice this right now. Think of a recent situation where you felt angry, got it? Now, let's apply the art of delay in hindsight. Take a deep breath and create some mental distance from the event. Ask yourself, what was my interpretation of this situation that led to my anger? Is there another way to view the situation that wouldn't lead to anger? What need of mine wasn't being met at that moment? If you could go back, how might you respond differently? This exercise isn't about judging your initial reaction, it's about training your mind to create that crucial delay in future situations, giving you the space to choose a thoughtful response. Now, let's tackle a common misconception: delaying anger doesn't mean you're being passive or letting people walk all over you. In fact, it's quite the opposite. By mastering the art of delay, you can address issues more effectively and assert yourself more powerfully. When we respond with calm clarity rather than reactive anger, our words carry more weight, and our actions are more impactful. As Marcus Aurelius said, the nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength. This strength allows us to stand firm in our principles, set boundaries without burning bridges, and handle conflicts with wisdom. Let's see how Sarah, Michael, and Alex apply this strength in their lives. Sarah recently needed to confront a team member who was consistently missing deadlines. In the past, her frustration might have led to an angry outburst, damaging their working relationship. Instead, Sarah used the Stoic pause to collect her thoughts. She calmly addressed the issue in a focused conversation, clearly communicating the impact of missed deadlines and working together to find solutions. Her calm approach led to a productive dialogue and improved performance, avoiding defensiveness and resentment. Michael, our high school teacher, faced a challenging situation with an angry parent who was upset about their child's grade. Instead of becoming defensive or letting anger build, Michael applied the "is it true" technique to examine his assumptions about the parent's intentions. He realized the anger likely came from concern for the child's future. With this insight, Michael had a constructive conversation, explaining the grading process and discussing ways to help the student improve. His calm, empathetic approach turned what could have been a heated argument into a collaborative effort. Alex, on the other hand, dealt with a neighbor whose dog constantly barked, disturbing their child's nap times. Rather than angrily confronting the neighbor, Alex used reframing to see the situation as an opportunity to strengthen neighborhood relations. After calming down, Alex approached the neighbor and explained the situation in a friendly way. They ended up discovering the dog's barking was caused by separation anxiety and brainstormed ways to help the dog while maintaining peace in the neighborhood. In each of these situations, delaying the initial angry reaction opened the door to more effective, productive solutions. This is the true power of delay. It not only helps us avoid the harmful consequences of uncontrolled anger, but it also creates opportunities for positive outcomes that anger would have otherwise blocked. But what about those times when delay seems impossible, when anger rises so quickly and intensely that you react before you can even think? This is where mindfulness practice becomes invaluable. Regularly practicing mindfulness can increase your awareness of your emotions, making it easier to catch anger early, before it overwhelms you. Try this simple mindfulness exercise. Several times throughout the day, take a moment to check in with yourself. What emotions are you feeling right now? Where do you feel them in your body? Are your shoulders tense? Is your jaw clenched? By regularly tuning into your emotional state, you become better equipped to notice the early signs of anger, giving you more opportunities to apply the art of delay. Remember, mastering the art of delay is a journey, not a destination. There will be times when you succeed in pausing before reacting, and times when anger gets the better of you. The key is to approach this practice with self-compassion. As Epictetus said, we should not be angry with ourselves when we fail, but should keep educating ourselves without any sense of hostility. Each time you successfully delay an angry response, celebrate that small victory. And when you react in anger, treat it as a learning opportunity, reflect on what triggered your anger, how it felt in your body, and what you might do differently next time. As we wrap up this exploration, let's recap the key points of mastering the art of delaying anger. Anger itself isn't the enemy, it's a natural emotion that can signal important issues. The power lies in the pause between the trigger and your response. That pause allows us to shift from the reactive emotional brain to the rational thinking brain. Techniques like the 5-5-5 rule, box breathing, and the Stoic pause help create that vital delay. Delaying anger isn't about suppression but choosing how to respond wisely. Regular mindfulness practice helps us notice anger early, creating more opportunities to delay. Mastering this art is an ongoing practice that requires patience and self-compassion. As you move forward, I encourage you to see each moment of anger as a chance to practice the art of delay. Start small, even a few seconds of pause can make a world of difference. Over time, these small delays will grow longer, giving you more space to choose your response thoughtfully. Remember the words of Seneca, the greatest remedy for anger is delay. In this simple statement lies a profound truth: within each of us is the power to transform our relationship with anger. By mastering the art of delay, not only do we avoid the destructive consequences of uncontrolled rage, but we also open ourselves up to more constructive, compassionate, and effective ways of engaging with the world. So next time you feel anger rising, take a breath. Create that small, yet powerful space between the trigger and your response. In that space lies your greatest strength. In that pause, you'll discover your power, the power to choose to respond rather than react, to understand rather than judge, and to transform rather than destroy. This is the true power of delay, a power that resides within each of us. As you leave this video, I invite you to carry with you the techniques, strategies, and a new perspective on anger. See it not as an enemy to be conquered but as a messenger to be understood, after a thoughtful delay. In doing so, you may find that anger becomes not a source of regret or destruction, but a catalyst for growth, understanding, and positive change. The journey of mastering anger through delay is a lifelong one, but it's a path that leads to greater peace, stronger relationships, and a deeper understanding of ourselves and others. So take that first step, create that first delay, and discover the strength and wisdom that lies within you. As we enter the final chapter of our exploration into the art of delaying anger, let's take a moment to reflect on how far we've come. We've delved into the neuroscience of anger, explored practical techniques to create a delay, and witnessed how this practice can transform everyday interactions. Now, let's dive deeper into how we can integrate this practice into the fabric of our lives. Daily reflection is one of the most powerful ways to reinforce the habit of delay. The Stoics practiced an exercise known as the evening review, where they would reflect on their actions at the end of each day, particularly how they handled challenging situations. We can adapt this practice to focus on our management of anger. Each evening, ask yourself these questions. When did I feel anger today? Did I manage to create a delay before responding? If so, what was the outcome? If not, how might things have been different if I had? What can I learn from this to apply tomorrow? This simple practice reinforces the importance of delay and trains your mind to become more aware of anger-triggering situations. Over time, you'll be able to create that crucial pause, even in the heat of the moment. But what about those times when anger feels justified, when we're faced with genuine injustice or wrongdoing? This is where the Stoic concept of righteous anger comes into play. The Stoics believed that there could be a place for anger when it was controlled, proportionate, and directed at addressing injustice. However, even in these cases, delay is crucial. Seneca wrote, "Anger, even when it is justified, should never be expressed in private. Wait for witnesses before manifesting it." This delay serves multiple purposes. It allows us to ensure our anger is justified, formulate a more effective response, and express our concerns in a way that is more likely to lead to positive change. Consider great leaders like Martin Luther King Jr. or Nelson Mandela. Their anger at systemic injustice was not eliminated, but it was transformed through patience and wisdom into powerful, nonviolent action. They exemplified how delay can turn anger from a destructive force into a catalyst for social progress. As we practice the art of delay, our relationship with anger changes. Rather than viewing it as an overwhelming force that controls us, we begin to see it as valuable information, a signal that something in our environment requires our attention. This shift aligns with the Stoic principle of assent. When we feel the first stirrings of anger, we can pause and ask, is this anger serving me? Is it proportionate to the situation? Is there a more constructive way to address what's bothering me? By consistently applying this practice, we cultivate sophrosyne, a state of mind characterized by moderation, self-control, and harmony. This doesn't mean we'll never feel anger again. Rather, it means we'll have the wisdom to know when anger is appropriate and the self-control to express it constructively. As we near the end of our journey, let's return one last time to our friends, Sarah, Michael, and Alex. Sarah's practice of delay has enhanced her professional life and enriched her personal relationships. By pausing before reacting to her partner's occasional thoughtless comments, she's been able to communicate her needs more constructively, leading to a stronger, more understanding relationship. Michael has begun teaching his students the art of delay, incorporating mindfulness exercises into his lessons. He's noticed a marked improvement in classroom behavior and has even received messages from parents, grateful for the positive impact these techniques have had at home. Alex has discovered that mastering delay has increased their overall life satisfaction. By responding thoughtfully rather than angrily to daily frustrations, Alex finds more joy in parenting and more energy for personal pursuits. These stories remind us that the art of delaying anger isn't just about avoiding negative outcomes, it's about creating space for more positive, fulfilling experiences in all areas of life. As we conclude, remember that mastering the art of delay is not about achieving perfection. There will still be times when anger gets the better of us, when we react before we can pause. The key is to approach this practice. Each moment of anger is an opportunity to practice, learn, and grow. In the words of Epictetus, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. By aspiring to respond with wisdom rather than anger, we set ourselves on a path of continuous growth and self-improvement. So, as you move forward from this video, I invite you to commit to creating that tiny space between stimulus and response, that crucial moment of delay. Start small, even a delay of just a few seconds can make a significant difference. Over time, as you practice and refine your ability to pause, these small delays will grow longer, giving you more space to choose your response wisely. Remember, the power to transform your relationship with anger lies within you, in that space between stimulus and response, in that moment of delay. In that space, you'll find your freedom to choose, to respond rather than react, to understand rather than judge, to grow rather than destroy. As you go about your day, carry with you the wisdom of the Stoics and the insights we've explored together. May you find new strength in the face of anger. Discover the power of delay, not just as a technique, but as a way of life. May this practice bring you greater peace, stronger relationships, and a deeper understanding of yourself and others. Thank you for joining me in exploring the art of delaying anger. And remember, in the words of Marcus Aurelius, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Now go forth, and may you wield the power of delay with wisdom and grace.